YouTube is too saturated with too many real estate agents. I hear this all the time, and it's simply not true. There are so many creators on YouTube, and yes, there are plenty that are in the real estate space, but in the grand scheme of things, the amount of real estate agents on YouTube is so minimal compared to the viewership on YouTube. Now, there may be some markets that have more agents on YouTube than others, but there is room for everyone. I am a huge believer in that, and it really comes down to how you are going to position yourself within the mix of other agents. Same goes for how you'll position yourself within the market when you're trying to market yourself, whether it be on social media or advertising in one way or another. We always have to deal with competition, and YouTube is certainly not oversaturated with real estate agents. Now, one thing I always recommend in my course or when I'm working with agents is to do a competitive analysis exercise before you actually start your YouTube channel. And this is really similar to what we do before we go meet a seller at their home that they want to sell. We're going to look at the neighborhood, we're going to look at comparable sales and understand how their home is different than other listings on the market and how we're going to position that to be appealing to a buyer. You're going to do the same thing when you're starting your YouTube channel. What is your brand like? How do you fit into the mix of the other agents out there? Don't start your YouTube channel with blinders on. I very much encourage you to be taking a look at the competition out there and understand where you fit into the mix. You can do this by using my free competitive analysis guide. I have it linked for you below, completely free. So rather than looking at this thinking there's so many agents on YouTube, there's so much competition and it's oversaturated, I think about this in terms of your audience is already there. If there are that many agents using YouTube, that means that there is demand for their services on YouTube. I would also caution you that just because you see a YouTube channel that exists on a particular topic, it doesn't mean that anyone is watching it or has discovered it or that it's valuable in any way, shape, or form. There are plenty of people who start their YouTube channel, particularly real estate agents, and don't end up keeping up with it. Therefore, all the information is kind of stalled out or no longer relevant, and no one's actually watching that channel. So just because it exists doesn't mean that it's competition for you. One way to stand out in the mix is to really define your niche, really understand who you're trying to reach with your content. Because if you go super broad and you just want to reach any home buyer in the Phoenix metro area, you're probably going to have less success than if you niche down to first-time home buyers who are looking specifically in the West Valley. That is going to speak to the right avatar. That is going to cut through the noise, and the people that are those first-time home buyers looking to buy in the West Valley are probably going to be very much attracted to your content. This also makes you more discoverable because the search terms they are using are going to be more specific to the content that you're putting out. Whereas when you're super broad, your content may or may not come up for them if they're searching some specific information. Now, another way to stand out on YouTube is obviously using your personal brand. If you don't have a personal brand yet, I encourage you to start thinking about what that looks like, whether that is a team name or a personal name that you're going to use for real estate, your color, maybe a logo. If you brand yourself and it becomes very recognizable, it's going to stand out amongst the noise. And along the same lines, your personality is a huge branding opportunity. Your personality is authentic to you, and that's what people want to see and connect with. So don't try to be anyone else. Don't try to play to any sort of standard. Be authentically yourself, and that is what is going to attract your ideal client. That's not just for YouTube, but that's for all social media and in general, just personal branding. Now, another way to stand out in your market is to fill the gaps. So what I want you to do is actually look at all of the agents that are in your market and see what the topics are that they cover. Can you understand specifically what their channel is supposed to be about or who it's for? Or is it kind of confusing that you don't know exactly who they're talking to? Take note of that because we obviously want to start our channels with a lot more intentionality and specificity so that our viewer actually knows that we are for them. Really understand what your competitors out there are actually posting and talking about, but also understand what they are not talking about. Are there opportunities out there for you to cover topics or some sort of niche that no one is actually talking about? For instance, there may be a lot of different videos about home buyer tips and things that are related to resale homes, but maybe no one's really covering new construction in your area. There could be an opportunity for you to be a new construction expert, or at least be an expert on maybe a few communities in a particular area. One of the things you'll see in the competitive analysis exercise that I recommend is I ask you to identify content gaps in your market. That is going to be a huge opportunity for you to see where you can fit into the mix amongst all the other competition. Now, I would be lying if I said there aren't a lot of agents on YouTube, but the truth of the matter is it's not oversaturated. There is opportunity for everyone. And if it comes down to it and your client avatar is very similar to another agent's client avatar, you both will still get business, because the beauty of attraction marketing and social media like YouTube is that the client is going to be attracted to you no matter what. If you are authentically you, they are going to resonate with your message. They are going to vibe with you. They are going to call you over the other person if they feel like it's a good fit. So do your thing, put your message out there, know who you're speaking to and have clarity on that, but don't be afraid to have a similar message as someone else for fear that it's oversaturated, because your vibe will attract your tribe. So now that you know that you actually can stand out when there is competition on YouTube, you need to know what mistakes you shouldn't be making when you're first starting your YouTube channel. I've shared all of that in this video right here.